Now, many of us are going to be going to holiday parties this time of year and may even enjoy a cocktail or two. Now, while you should never drink and drive, if you do get pulled over and charged with a DUI, many of us don't know what to do or even know what our rights are.
That's true. And you've heard Thomas Wilson's slogan on his commercials, "Let a Marine fight for you." Attorney Thomas Wilson is here to tell us what we need to know if we are ever faced with the dreaded DUI. Good morning, Thomas.
Hi, good morning.
Now, can we start out kind of general and just kind of explain to everybody what is a DUI?
Well, there's several statutes in Arizona laws that concern the same thing, but driving under the influence, driving impaired to the slightest degree, and then a series of laws that concern the number, the blood alcohol number, 0.08, 0.15, 0.20. And then there's some felony charges that come up if somebody in the car is under 15.
So there's so many different layers to this. So if somebody is by chance pulled over, what is some things that they should know right away?
Well, you have a right to talk to a lawyer before you take any tests. And if you're at the point where a police officer is suggesting maybe you should take some tests, that's your cue to tell the police officer that you want to talk to a lawyer.
Is that the verbiage that you use? I would like to speak with my lawyer first?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so take us through that process. So what would happen if they then would go to speak to a lawyer? Are they arrested? Are they detained before they're allowed to speak to you?
Generally, the police officers know the law, and they're going to put you in the back seat with a cell phone and a phone book, or maybe at the police station with a phone or your own phone, and some privacy, 15 minutes. And the things that could happen, person could have already been arrested, or they might just be being detained.
Okay. And now we were actually talking about this during commercial about how the laws have really changed a lot here in Arizona when it comes to the DUI. What is kind of like new or something that people should know?
Well, all of the DUI offenses, first offenses, carry mandatory jail time if a person's convicted. What's changed significantly is the motor vehicle requirements, the interlock machine. In the past, an interlock for a first offense wasn't required unless a person was at an extreme level. Now, for any first offense conviction, there's an interlock ordered for 1 year, which is a device you have to install in your car. You have to blow into the device to get the car to start. And the charge is about $75 a month for the machine. And the issue becomes you can't rent a car because that car wouldn't have an interlock in it. You couldn't borrow a friend's car. And if you have someone that uses your car, they would have to blow into the machine as well.
And you were also saying that then hurts someone if they drive an employer's car.
Certainly, that's another change. Used to, there was a way to get an exception for a vehicle that's owned by your employer. That's no longer the case. So if you drive a van or a car, or you work at one of the automotive dealerships and you're required to move cars around on the lot, you couldn't have that job because none of those vehicles would have the interlock requirement.
So you could potentially lose your job because of this.
Certainly.
And of course, we now get a lawyer. What would be the difference if someone says, I want to get a lawyer, and what you could do for them versus if they're saying, I kind of want to go into this without getting a lawyer?
Well, you can certainly go it alone. It wouldn't. I guess the only reason you wouldn't hire a lawyer is if you just intended to walk in and plead guilty.
Okay.
If that's what your goal was, if you were going to plead guilty and that's it, maybe you wouldn't need a lawyer. But if you're going to challenge the charges or try to reduce the impact of the charges, anything like that, you'd need a lawyer.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, you're a very experienced lawyer, and we were discussing a little bit earlier about some of the different tests that they can take, or that the officer would suggest that someone could take if they think that they're drinking. Now, we've got the field sobriety test. We've also got blood and urine tests, correct?
That's correct. And the blood draw is becoming more and more common. Police officers now have gone to phlebotomy courses, and they'll draw your blood on the side of the road while you sit on the edge of the police car. And breath machines also in use. Not so common. Locally, the Tucson Police Department still uses the breath machines, but the Sheriff's Department, the Highway Patrol, Oro Valley, Marana have all gone to strictly blood draws.
So there is so much that goes along with this, you know, what your rights are, what can happen to you, the layers of different penalties. Now, depending upon whatever your breath and your blood tests come back, whatever it is that you take at that time, is that going to affect your penalties?
Yes.
Okay.
If a person is above a .20 and they are convicted of that charge as a first offense, the mandatory minimum is 45 days in jail. Now, there's with some exceptions, a judge can reduce that as low as 14, but not below 14 days. Minimum penalty over $3,000 for a .15 first offense. Minimum's 30 days, and under some conditions, a judge can reduce that down to 9. The impaired to the slightest degree charge, 10 days first offense, can be reduced to 1 and $1,500 fine. There's counseling classes, and of course the interlock could go along with that, as well as probation.
So there is so much that goes along with this. So thank you for, of course, kind of getting us up to what our rights are, and of course, you know, what we could be facing if we run into this situation. But to contact Thomas Wilson, you can call 624-2728 or log on to TucsonDUITeam.com. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks very much.